Hey guys, it's me again, Eric here at Mountaintop 9, and in this video, I want to talk about the legendary Ozzy album from 1983, Bark at the Moon. Now, if you've seen my Ultimate Sin video, then I told you about how my very first memory of hearing Ozzy's voice, the very first memory in my head was as a kid when my dad played me the title cut, Bark at the Moon. I still remember when he played me that song. We had just went fishing, all right? And it was in the evening, and we were done, and we were leaving the lake. And when we were in the car and driving, I remember my dad, he exposed me to lots of classic metal when I was a kid, all right? And he had a motto about songs, all right, that he ingrained in my head as a very, very young kid. Like, for instance, the very first time he played me Electric Eye by Judas Priest, okay? When he played me that song the very first time, he told me, and I was only like 3 or 4 years old, and I still remember him telling me in the car, he said, you gotta listen to a song a few times before you really start to like it, before you really get it. He'd always tell me that, and what he was trying to teach me is you need to get familiarity with the song. The first time you hear a song, you may like it right away, but it's still gonna rush past you. It's with repeated listens a lot of times where a song becomes even more, you start to love it even more. And anyway, I remember he said the same thing. He put on Bark at the Moon and he said, check this song out. And he said, you're going to like this song the more you hear it. And I still remember driving from the lake, okay? We're leaving the lake and it's in the evening. It's after nightfall and I'm just looking at the trees out the car window and listening to Bark at the Moon for the first time. And I just loved it right away. What a classic song. And just the whole atmosphere of it, the riffing from J.K. Lee, the wonderful lyrics that Bob Daisley wrote, the melody line that Ozzy came up with, just everything goes together so well. And then when you got that album cover that goes with it as well, with Ozzy, with the makeup looking like a werewolf. They got him all done up like a werewolf on the cover. Man, just a great cut. I don't know how anyone could listen to Bark at the Moon and not be impressed. But believe it or not, there are people like that out there that when Bark at the Moon came out, they still didn't think it was as good as the stuff that Ozzy did on Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman. To them, that's everything. And then when J.K. Lee came in and they did Bark at the Moon, they didn't like that as much. There are people out there like that. I addressed that in the Ultimate Sin video. I can't fucking believe it. I'm absolutely astounded that people like that fucking exist in the world, because to me, Bark at the Moon, from the time I heard it as a kid and heard all the other Ozzy albums right around the same time, I always thought Bark at the Moon, man, this is a classic. And I grew up feeling that way too. And, all the way up, the last time I saw Ozzy on stage live was way back in, the last time I saw him do a solo show would have been in 1998, believe it or not. Because when I saw Ozzy in 1999 and in 2001, those were just with Black Sabbath, the Black Sabbath reunion shows. But I also saw Ozzy a few times solo, doing his solo stuff. And to make a long story short, guys, the reason I stopped seeing Ozzy in the live setting after 2001 is because I had had enough at that point. At that stage in the game with Ozzy, he was just losing his voice way too fucking much. And a problem I really have with him, I don't want to deviate off the beaten path too much. I'll get back to the album review in a second, but I gotta let you know something that Ozzy would do that was very fucking annoying. Ozzy would be on stage back in the late 90s and early 2000s, and he'd scream into the mic over and over again, "Go fucking crazy, let me hear you," and all this shit. All right? He'd put so much into doing that, and then wonder why he couldn't sing the songs. And I'd always say, why is he putting so much effort into screaming, "Let me hear you," and all this shit? He should be saving his voice in between verses for hitting the next verse. Another quick solution I want to get to about when they were doing those Black Sabbath reunion shows is, honestly, I wanted to hear Iommi playing riffs like "Symptom of the Universe" and "Hole in the Sky" and "Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath." Even if Ozzy couldn't have sang them, and he certainly can't, he certainly couldn't at that point in the game, I still would have liked to hear the band playing those riffs. I would have loved to hear Iommi doing those pummeling riffs in the live setting, even if Ozzy chose to sit those songs out and relax. That also would have been a happy medium. But anyway, I digress. Let me get back on track. The reason I stopped seeing Ozzy so long before he died was because there were too many vocal shenanigans going on. I was even at a couple shows where you'd get to the venue and he canceled after you drove 2 hours to see the show. And stuff like that kept happening. I got tired of it. So anyway, Ozzy always played "Bark at the Moon," the title cut, live. He always did. That was at every Ozzy solo show I ever saw. Okay, he always included "Bark at the Moon." Now, should have he included other classic Jakey Lee era songs? You bet your ass he should have. Ozzy should have had tracks like "Now You See It, Now You Don't" in his set list. You bet your ass. He should have had that song in the set list night after night. He should have done "The Ultimate Sin," "Secret Loser." I could go on, but unfortunately he didn't. "Blizzard of Oz," that album was Ozzy's comfort blanket that he just performed almost in entirety throughout his career, and that's just the way it was. But anyway, back on track. You cannot go wrong with "Bark at the Moon," the solo that Jakey Lee plays in that song, man. It just takes you through so many different peaks and valleys. It's like there's this great guitar all over this album. I heard a podcast review of "Bark at the Moon" where the person was saying that they wished that there was more guitar on "Bark at the Moon." They were saying things like "Blizzard of Oz" and "Diary of a Madman" were more guitar-driven albums than "Bark at the Moon." And my head exploded when I heard that. Are you out of your fucking mind? I know there's songs like, "You're No Different" and "So Tired," which those songs aren't guitar-driven songs. But hey, guess what? Listen to all the riffage and all the searing leads that are going on all the other tracks on this damn album, all right? You can't tell me this isn't a guitar-heavy album. It most certainly is. Now, there may be people out there that have a problem with it having the polished sound that it does and having keyboards and, what can I say if you don't like that? But one thing you can't say about "Bark at the Moon" is that it's not guitar-driven, because this is a good, kick-ass, guitar-driven album, and Jakey Lee should be damn proud of the work that he did on this album. Everybody that worked on "Bark at the Moon" should be proud of what they did, what they contributed to mankind when they laid this album down. So that's enough of "Bark at the Moon." I think I've said enough about the title cut. It's an all-time, it's a masterpiece. What a way to open an album, all right? And I like "Over the Mountain," guys. "Over the Mountain" is a kick-ass intro song to "Diary of a Madman." But "Over the Mountain" is not as good as "Bark at the Moon." And I don't know, sure as hell isn't even in the same fucking conversation as "Bark at the Moon." I don't know is not in the same fucking ballpark, all right? It's in the fucking minor leagues. "Bark at the Moon" as an opening cut is in the major leagues. We're talking World Series MVP. Now, moving along to the next song, "You're No Different." Guys, I love "You're No Different." This is a great, moody Ozzy song. And I love Ozzy songs that have a lot of mood and have a lot of brooding atmosphere. And you can cut the atmosphere in "You're No Different" with a knife. I mean, it just envelops you. You feel like you could just swim in the atmosphere. I love the keyboard work. I love the production. And just the piece of the pie that matters most, the ingredient that just takes it to the next fucking level, is Ozzy's very emotional, cut straight to the heart vocal delivery. The way he sings the lines on You're No Different just cuts straight through, cuts straight to your heart. They absolutely do. You can't help but become emotionally involved with You're No Different. I've always loved this song, man. I still remember, like, when I hear You're No Different, it still takes me back to the first time hearing the cassette tape of Bark at the Moon, because when that song ended on that night as we were driving back from the lake and I was looking at the trees out the window, You're No Different came on. And just the atmosphere of it, just immediately after you get the balls out, you know, just straight between the eyes assault of Bark at the Moon, but then you get this emotional, moody song like You're No Different. It's a great use of dynamics, guys. Keeps you engaged instead of just pummeling you with one mood, song after song. Instead, Bark at the Moon does what all good albums should do. There's dynamics going on. There's different moods. There's different colors that the artist is using. And that's what keeps a listener entertained and engaged. And I just love the emotional words, great lyrics, great singing, and just everything about this track works. I never get tired of You're No Different. For me, it's one of my favorite tunes on the album. It's a standout track. The thing that's awesome about You're No Different, remember I said it's a moody song? I wanted to point out, Ozzy is awesome at these moody type songs as far as his haunting vocals, the way his vocals resonate, the way he portrays emotion. Think of like the verses to songs like Fire in the Sky on No Rest for the Wicked, all right? And, you know, think about the way he sings lines on songs like Tomorrow and Denial on the Osmosis album. That's a couple other examples of moody Ozzy tracks that just really have a brooding atmosphere to them. I just love that stuff, and Ozzy's really good at that. He did really good vocal work in a moody way like that for a couple of those Bill Ward solo songs. Look up that album, Bill Ward, or it's called Ward 1 Along the Way. Look up that Bill Ward album. Ozzy sings a couple tracks on that album that are really, really fucking good. I highly recommend you check that shit out. It's on YouTube, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, moving along to the next track. Now You See It, Now You Don't. This is a grade A premium slice of hard rockin', just balls to the wall, just a memorable track. You cannot go wrong with Now You See It, Now You Don't. I've always loved this track, man. It's got some memorable lines. I think the words that Bob Daisley wrote for Ozzy on this song, it seems like there's a lot of sexual innuendo going on in the lyrics. Like if you pay attention to what the lyrics are saying, it seems like it's got some kind of abstract kind of innuendo going on. But the main thing is just the riff. And it's even got some groove to it. Especially during the chorus time. Jakey Lee's playing a really like groovy type guitar riff. I don't ever hear anybody talk about Now You See It, Now You Don't being an underrated, overlooked song. But it certainly is. Like I said, Ozzy could have chose to make this a live staple. If he would have busted this song out at any Ozzy show I ever saw, I would have went nuts, man. And it's just got great lyrics. Overbearing woman, making it so hard for me. And, you know, that one line that he says in the song is really classic when he says, give me central heating, hope that I can pay the bill, making me forget my fear of hell. There's just some really evocative words in this song. And it's funny, at the end, I don't really like that cheesy thing. My only critique of Now You See It, Now You Don't is at the end when he starts doing that bodge and flaps and all that shit. You know, like the stuff that he did on No Bone Movies and Suicide Solution. You got some of that stuff going on at the end of Now You See It, Now You Don't, and all these sound effects, people intoning into the mic, and it just sounds kind of cheesy. The rest of the damn song is so good, so I wish they didn't do that stuff at the end of it, because that stuff is cringy. I mean, just picture it. You're rolling down the street in your car, and you got this song cranked up. It's rocking. But then it gets to that ending part, and they're doing all the bodge and flaps and all these oomphs and ahs and all this shit. That's embarrassing. That shit I gotta turn down so that people don't hear it, because it's fucking embarrassing, all right? I don't know how they did that without cringing when they heard the finished product. They should have said, nah, we're going to turn down those part of the track. But anyway, that's my only criticism. Other than that, Now You See It, Now You Don't is a standout track on the album. Now, the next song on the album is Rock and Roll Rebel. And man, this was one of my favorites as a kid. It comes right out of the gates. This is a very heavy, guitar-driven song. That main riff, that dun 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 dun. You know, as soon as it comes out of the gates, this song is a heavy, scorching, hard-rocking tune. And then you've got Ozzy in the chorus. You know, he's lambasting the religious groups and the people that were going after him at the time, saying that Ozzy's a devil worshiper and he's trying to corrupt your children and all that kind of stuff. So he's going after him in the lyrics to this. Rock and Roll Rebel nowadays, it's not one of my favorite songs on the album, but it's still a damn good rock song, and it's filled with very infectious guitar playing. You can't listen to Rock and Roll Rebel and tell me that's not a guitar-driven song. Holy shit. And we've also had Bark at the Moon and Now You See It, Now You Don't on the same side of the fucking album. This is a slam you over the head, guitar-heavy album any way you slice it. I don't give a fuck that it has songs with keyboards on it. And that it has songs like Slow Down, which sound kind of poppy. And, you know, it has a ballad like So Tired. Okay, but those are just segments of the album. The album as a whole is a heavy-ass album. It's a hard-rocking album. Moving along to the second half of the album, the opener to the second side of the album is Center of Eternity. And it starts out with, you know, this very operatic, theatrical type intro and everything. But once you get past that, once you get past, like, that whole moody opening part, though, it's a fast, up-tempo, energetic song. It's got some fast riffing from Jake E. Lee. But overall, Center of Eternity is kind of like... Center of Eternity slots into this middle place on the album for me, where it's not like a standout tune, but I also wouldn't call it filler either. It just fits just right on the album. It's just right in the right place. And I really like probably my favorite part in the song, in Center of Eternity, is that part where it's like this moody middle section where the pacing of the song slows down a little bit. And Ozzy's singing lines like, I've got to travel forever, it's always in my mind. I like that part. I really like that part. But overall, Center of Eternity, it's just an okay tune. It fits in nicely on the album, but it doesn't like blow your mind or anything like that. Now it's the next song where we get into some... really mixed feelings. The next song is So Tired. And for me, this song it's not a bad song, guys, but it's kind of a cringy song. I don't like the sappy lyrics to it. I don't like the victim mentality that's going on in the singing. And what I mean is Ozzy in the song, he's playing this very poor, put-upon guy who I guess his woman is just out running around having affairs or something, because he sings about waiting at home for her and all this shit. So I really don't like that angle. It's very weak. And in addition to the very weak, lyrical angle, which just makes the singer sound like, like he's nothing. He has no dignity. So I don't like that. I don't like the perspective that it's coming from. But then also, the music's very sappy as well, my friends. I like Ozzy ballads. I have nothing against Ozzy doing ballads, and he loved doing ballads. Like, right now, I can tell you right now, I love the song Mama, I'm Coming Home. I think that's a great fucking tune. That's a ballad. I love Old LA Tonight, which is the closing song on Osmosis. Man, that's a moving song. And it's a ballad. But it's not sappy in the way that So Tired is. So Tired is a very sappy song. It's pretty cringy and awkward. And like I said, I like Ozzy ballads. But hell, I'd rather listen to Goodbye to Romance or Tonight. I'd rather listen to those two songs than So Tired. All right, guys, now we're getting towards the end of the album. The next song is Slow Down. And the one thing that you'll notice immediately about Slow Down is its use of keyboards. Sounds, kind of poppy, and just overall, the whole entire song has a very poppy feel to it. But you know what? I like it. I still feel like it's a driving type song. It's got a good energy to it. It propels you forward. It's not a hard rocker by any means, but it's got a nice energy to it. And yes, it is poppy, but I like it. It's catchy. But it's the closing song, Waiting for Darkness, that really sends Bark at the Moon off in a very theatrical kind of horror film. It's got that horror film atmosphere to it. It's not a scary song. I don't mean like that. Like, I remember when I was a kid and I first heard the title cut off the debut album of Black Sabbath, the Black Sabbath song. That riff and the atmosphere, that was a scary atmosphere. Waiting for Darkness has, I guess better than saying horror film atmosphere, it has a gothic atmosphere. Think, the castle type setting and a full moon in the sky and gargoyles and shit like that. It's got that kind of gothic type atmosphere, and the vocal performance of Ozzy is very emotive as he's doing those lines like, I know what they'll find, it's in their mind, it's what they want to see. This is more of Ozzy singing about how the world sees him and how they judge him based off of, what they perceive, the exterior of Ozzy. Ozzy revisited that lyrical trope time and time again. Bob Daisley was really good at writing down lyrics for Ozzy that talked about stuff like that talked about how other people would look at Ozzy and what they thought of him just by seeing the outside. But Ozzy was always singing about, hey, there's more to me than what you see on the outside, okay? There's what's going on beneath the surface. Think about a song like Secret Loser, for example. There was more to Ozzy than just what you saw on the outside. There was also all of the inner workings that made him the person he was that the outside world couldn't see. And that's what Waiting for Darkness is all about when you listen to it. And then it's got that nice, like I said, it's got a gothic, theatrical atmosphere going on around it. And it just really sends the album off with a nice flourish. It fits in with the album cover, with Ozzy as the werewolf on the cover. It just fits in very well with the whole dark atmosphere of the album. This is a dark album, generally speaking. I mean, even on songs like You're No Different, that's a dark song. You can't listen to a song, even though You're No Different isn't a hard rocker, it's a dark song, though, thematically and atmosphere-wise. The atmosphere on that track is palpable. And Waiting for Darkness closes the album off with that same type of flourish, in that same type of way. So, yeah, guys, that's what I got to say about Bark at the Moon. I just wanted to talk about the main tracks on on the album. There's also, you know, nowadays you can hear songs like Spiders in the Night and One Up the B-Side, you know, those other tracks, which have their place as well. Those are good songs. I don't have anything bad to say about them. But I really wanted to just focus on the album itself. Bark at the Moon through Waiting for Darkness, okay? And as an album, okay, it's one of Ozzy's absolute best. You know, honestly, it's in my top 3 Ozzy albums. My number 1 favorite is The Ultimate Sin. Hands down, I'd say The Ultimate Sin is my number 1 favorite Ozzy album. But then 2 and 3, they flip back and forth between Bark at the Moon and Osmosis. Yes, I am a staunch defender of the Osmosis album, and I'll get into that in another time in its own review. But those are my top 3 Ozzy albums, are The Ultimate Sin, Bark at the Moon, and Osmosis. Doesn't mean I don't love Blizzard and Diary and No Rest for the Wicked and No More Tears. Those albums all have their place as well. But my top 3 would be Ultimate Sin, Bark at the Moon, and Osmosis. So yeah, guys, Bark at the Moon is a classic. What else can I say about it? I'd like to hear from you. You let me know in the comments section what your favorite tracks are on the album. Just let me know 3 of your favorites. With me, if I had to pick 3, I guess in no order, I'd go with You're No Different, the title cut, Bark at the Moon, and then as my third, I guess I'd say Now You See It, Now You Don't. I mean, really, those opening 3 tracks are strong, man. So you guys let me know in the comment section what your 3 favorites are. And guess what, guys? I'll be seeing you again really, really soon.